but I didn't dig it out.
And he's gonna carry him on. One of them, he's still trying to run. Maybe not here today. Yeah.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's 6 p.m. Posted time for the meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Cleveland County for September 17th, 2024. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, we have a quorum.
All right, next I'll recognize Mr. Steve Paget, who's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and give tonight's invocation. Steve?
Please face the flag and pledge with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, I hope you were listening. We just said one nation under God, and we need you. Turn this turmoil that we're into in this country into a peaceful and settled condition. Only you can do that. We trust you to do that. We thank you for Cleveland County and the leadership here in Cleveland County. And we ask that you provide them with the wisdom and the knowledge that they need to do what is best for the citizens of this county. We thank you for what they've been able to accomplish so far to this date. And we ask for your continued guidance here as we follow your leadership. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. Next, we'll recognize any elected officials who might be present. Seeing none, next we'll recognize any veterans present. Mrs. Hutton.
All right, here.
Jason Pauls, United States Air Force. Steve Paget, U.S. Army.
David Cotton, U.S. Navy.
Johnny Hudson, U.S. Army. We've got a veteran pin. I think everyone's got a veteran pin, hasn't he?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your service.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your service. Next, we'll recognize any law enforcement present.
Danny Howe, Cleveland County Sheriff's Office.
Regina Brooks, Cleveland County.
Thank you all for your service. Next, we'll recognize any county department heads.
Carrie Melton, Assistant County Manager.
Chris Moore, Wayne.
Sherry Lavender, Tax. Rebecca Johnson, Social Services. Tiffany Hansen, Health Department.
Jason Pauls, Business Development Director.
Bill Stephen, Finance Department. Barry Davis, Emergency Management Department. Scott Bowman, Maintenance.
Sandra Orvig, Range Director.
All right, thank you all for what you do on a daily basis. So let me make this next statement. So there was a public hearing that was originally planned to be scheduled for the night. It's planning case 24-12. This was a request to rezone parcel 59918 from residential to rural residential, and Project GE has been postponed until Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Commissioners' Chambers. Next, first item on the agenda is a motion to adopt the proposed agenda. Commissioners, we have been presented the agenda. At this time, entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I hear none. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, special recognition. At this time, I'll recognize Mr. Todd Toggle, Western 3D Outdoor Target National Championship, Pinnacle Classical Academy. Todd?
Oh, yes, Mackenzie, you can come up.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really not recognizing me, we're recognizing Mackenzie. We're super proud of all the hard work she's put in and how much growth has happened just over the last few years. She flew all the way out to Colorado and won the Western Nationals. She just keeps on getting better and better, and we're really excited for the next 2 years because that's when we come into, her recruiting time for college.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Oh, wait, whoa. Woo, Mackenzie.
Todd, come
Whoop,
back.
Y'all
yep,
hold
oh.
Madam Clerk, we have something for you, Madam.
Yes, we do. You guys might remember the name Mackenzie Glenn because last year Pinnacle's archery team did a fantastic job winning championships in their 2023 competition, and Mackenzie was listed on that archery team. No surprise there. So National Archery Championship title for Mackenzie Glenn. Whereas Mackenzie Glenn, a junior at Pinnacle Classical Academy, won the national title in the Young Adult Female Pins 3D Archery category. And whereas through her hard work and perseverance, she achieved a national championship, state titles, and numerous other accomplishments, as Mackenzie takes great pride in respecting her opponents in archery, competing with class and dignity. And whereas the demanding athletic competition requires the highest levels of skills, determination, teamwork, and focus on selfless commitment to others. And whereas this outstanding archer, Mackenzie Glenn, has represented herself, her family, school, and community proudly. Now therefore be it resolved that the Cleveland County Board of Commissioners hereby commends, congratulates, and gives special recognition to Mackenzie Glenn for her extraordinary achievements and championships. Adopted this the 7th day of September 2024.
Thank you all. Congratulations. Todd?
Congratulations.
Thank you all. Congratulations. Best of luck this year.
I'm sure we'll see you next year for another something.
All right, next item on the agenda is public comment. Madam Clerk, since we had no one sign up for public comment, we'll forward the statement.
Yes, sir.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Commissioners, we have presented the consent agenda. You've had an opportunity to review that within your packets. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion, we pass the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Now we're on to the regular agenda. The first one is Uptown Shelby Association update. Carly Bostic. Ms. Bostic. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank y'all for having me. I am Carly Bostic, and I'm the Executive Director for Uptown Shelby Association. I have been there about 1.5 years now, so I wanted to give you all a few quick updates on what happened in my first year there, as well as this year. So you should each have an annual report or will receive one. That is, even though we run on a fiscal year, we do the annual report on a calendar year. So in 2023, we raised $12,500 through Seeds in Season and carriage rides. These funds benefit our facade grant program, in which the businesses in Uptown Shelby can apply and receive up to a $2,500 reimbursement to any facade updates. We also received $200,000 from the state, and that was to assist and support with the Rogers Theater. With these funds, we replaced the roof of the Rogers Theater and purchased and are maintaining the lot next door. We received $16,000 from the city of Shelby through the Travel and Tourism Grant, and we used this for marketing and advertisement programs to draw in more people into Uptown. We hosted 18 different events that ranged from Shelby Lab, carriage rides, partnering with the Earl Scruggs Center on concerts and their festival. We were featured in a number of different printed and televised medias, such as the Queen City News, Good Grit, Our State, and Blue Ridge Outdoors. We ended 2023 with 204 volunteers, which equals 630 volunteer hours, and that is a value of $18,800. We had $34,900 in sponsorships, donations, in-kind services, and 53 partnerships and collaborations with organizations in Cleveland County. As for 2024, the Uptown Shelby Social District went live July 1st, and to date, we have 22 businesses participating. That's a combination of they are welcome to sip and shop, or they serve there, or serve only. Then we have also received $100,000 in state grants, and that is, again, to help with property improvement and soft costs for buildings. We plan to kind of expand our facade grant and make some more structural improvements. And some of our work plan highlights, We have reactivated and our committees are based on our 4 points, which is economic vitality, design, promotion, organization. Our design committee goes through Uptown, we pick corridors and we do block assessments. And we do them different times. We've done 2 so far, and we basically judge them on facade, structure, safety, aesthetics. Then from there, we break down the results, and I either contact the city of Shelby or the property owners directly and offer them things like our facade grant on what are things that we can be doing to make Uptown safer and more aesthetically pleasing. Our Economic Vitality Committee meets quarterly, and that is truly a meeting of the minds to see what we can be doing to work smarter, not harder. And that incorporates a lot of different individuals, our City of Shelby Senior Planner, Economic Development Director, the CCEDP Director, and the County and Travel and Tourism. I'm a firm believer that we can all work together, and when all of our towns succeed, we can support one another, and that's definitely the goal. And then our promotions committee, of course, gathers to implement our annual events. The rest of our work plans for the remaining of the year, and again into June 2025, are to implement quarterly small-scale events. We'll call those kind of like sip and shop, where we'll have entertainment still to highlight on that music factor. And we will have entertainment, bands, musicians, whatever it may be, in stores to sort of encourage people to go in and shop or eat. We're working on researching and identifying residential opportunities with the MSD, creating a mural trail to incorporate into our arts and living, and then working on our 45th anniversary, which will be next year. So a couple of new businesses that have opened, the Rail Trail Boardwalk, which contains Hive Coffee, Asian Bistro, Sweet House Bakery, Tiny Teas. We have Beaver Creek Bar and Grill, Wine Collective, Simply a Hair Bar, and Eileen's Soul Food. And so our social media, we're up to 10,000 likes and 11,000 followers on Facebook. We've got 5,000 followers on Instagram and 1,100 subscribers on our newsletter. And as far as our upcoming events, we have a huge fundraiser on Saturday. It's our Seeds in Season. You can still get tickets. We would love to see you there and would love y'all's support. We've really shifted the focus of that fundraiser to highlight and focus on our farmers. And we have had the pleasure of all of the farmers that are involved this year. We've gone out to their farms, we put a video together, which we will then use, and basically keeping everything local. All of our raffle basket prizes are everything local, and highlighting that the farmers market is such a hub for both Shelby and Cleveland County, and using those funds to increase economic vitality and bring more people to this area. And then Saturday, November 30th is our annual Christmas tree lighting. And again, thank you all for letting us use the Court Square. It is such an iconic place to have the Santa house and the tree lighting. We get so many comments and compliments on it. And the Christmas parade is Sunday, December 1st. That is a changed date, and that is to allow for a rain delay date. Previously, it was later in the month, and it just didn't allow enough wiggle room for us to reschedule it. There have been some changes as far as we're requiring all participants to submit license, registration, and insurance just for safety for their vehicles and their trailers. And the Uptown Shelby Merchants, City of Shelby City Council and Emergency Service, Cleveland County Commissioners and Emergency Services, and school band receive free entry. And our carriage rides in Santa House will be Friday, December 6th, 13th, and 20th. So that's my Reader's Digest version for Uptown Shelby.
Is there any questions?
Any questions?
No, just a comment. We've been to Seeds to Season. They've changed the name,
Yeah.
but it's still the same thing for quite a few years. One of the most interesting evenings we had was we went in and we had the first 2 courses and everything was going great, and then boom.
Oh, no.
So we all ran into the Arts Council at that time. We were having it up on the street at Washington. So we all run in there, we got through, and we went back out and dried our seats off, and they served us our main course, and we finished the evening. And out of all the people there was only one couple that got so disgruntled they left.
Oh.
The rest of us, said, hey, we got a great story to tell now.
That's awesome, yeah. Weather has not been my friend the first year here with events, but we have changed the venue. The event is now at Uptown Indigo. They've been very gracious to be a sponsor, and so that way we're able to focus more on the setup and use that time to introduce the farmers, have them talk about what their farm is, and have little details that really, again, even though it is a fundraiser for us, we want to highlight the farmers as much as we can. Perfect. Any questions?
Anyone else? Thank you again.
Okay,
Thanks for
thank
being here.
y'all. Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is the Cleveland County Fairgrounds Improvement Update. Mr. Falls?
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Mr. Chairman, and County Manager. Thank you for the opportunity for me to bring an update for the Cleveland County Fairgrounds, all the work that's been done out there over the past 6 months. The partnership that's on the fairgrounds exemplify why Cleveland County is a leader among our peers. The Fair Association, Cleveland Community College, county departments, Cleveland Volunteer Fire Department, and local businesses came together with the county's contractor, Beam Construction, to renovate the fairgrounds. And if you'll remember back in March, you approved a design-build contract with Beam Construction of a little bit over $2.7 million. Construction actually began in May, and they were actually turned over the keys to the project last week. So a very quick turnaround. They were on time and on budget. Actually under budget. You'll see a little bit later on, we've expanded the scope of work that they did. This is an early morning pour. It was something pretty cool to go out and watch. I think Andrew, which is here with us tonight, told me I needed to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't think Andrew was there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And again, the new construction was completed just last week. So that's less than 5 months from the date they started pouring the foundation. Beam Construction bought into the goals of this board to stretch the funds and improve the fairgrounds as much as possible. So we worked with the design committee. If you'll remember, the design committee was made up of several county employees, and our board chair was part of that. We also had some Fair Association board members present on that as well. So very good working together with all these folks. I mentioned that there was quite a bit of work done out there. This is just the highlights. One thing I heard over and over again from our contractors was this was not one project. This was many projects. The number that I heard was actually 9 different projects all combined. Everything from building 2 new bays for the public safety base for the fire trucks, remodeling that public safety base, building new restroom facility out there, remodeling everything that was out there, and then and also replacing the exterior fencing. From there, really, you're starting to look at what the savings from the design-build project and the design-build contract, what that provided to the county. Things that I know are important to this board that I've heard board members mention to me, like seal coating the asphalt that was out there. That was actually paid for through some of the savings that we found. A lot of other things out there that happened, and I'm going to show you pictures of a couple of those things. So this is a picture of the new central restroom that lies between Gate 14, which is free parking, the food booths, and the midway. Most people are going to walk right by this when they're going to go eat or when they're going to go down to the rides. Cleveland Volunteer Fire Department will use the new fire bays and the remodeled station. The station is important not only to the fair, but communities rely on this station to improve response times and insurance ratings for their homes and businesses. This is a highly visible station, highly visible location. So just like our emergency management trailer that I saw Perry Davis move out to the site yesterday, this is also going to be a beacon for those in need of emergency assistance during events at the fairgrounds. The Fair Association, I'm sure you've noticed, they just purchased a new digital sign that has been installed out there. They've painted the water wheel. They've done a lot of work right around there. Cleveland Community College has, this is the gate 1 directly across from the college. They've come out and put new guttering, new doors in, cleaned the place, replaced all the lighting there. They've done a considerable amount of work and made it look good, showing this is truly a partnership between a lot of different agencies. The one thing that I heard first whenever this board asked for this project to happen was we need to make sure that the restrooms were there, that there were enough stalls available, that it was clean, and it was easy to keep clean. With the project, all the restrooms are designed with the same materials, hand dryers, and we've expanded the number of stalls by about 50 stalls out on site. So it's definitely an increase. We have sinks that are motion-activated sinks out there as well, so a lot of change. I didn't take a picture of every one of the restrooms because they all look kind of alike. Really proud of this aspect of the work that's been done out there. This is one of Cleveland County's finest. Looking at the new security system, that's the camera system that's been installed out there. Many people don't know that our camera system we had out there was 20 plus years old. We had 5 cameras. Today we have 29 cameras, and this is a high-tech, high state-of-the-art and upgradable system. So it's very useful to the sheriff's office. We had a lot of their team was on site yesterday doing training on it, and they all seemed to like what they were seeing. Safety has been paramount out there, not only with fair staff and county staff that have been out there, but Beam has really led the way in making sure that that's a safe environment, construction environment out there. They roped off areas during events, just like, you know, when we talk about the Justice Center. I know one of the things that y'all have been working through is you have an operating Justice Center that you're building a new Justice Center to take the place. So you have to make sure those mesh. We've had everything from Hamfest to German Invasion, is what they call it. It's a bunch of Volkswagens out there just a couple weeks ago that they have worked through. This is Goforth Hall, another one of the savings off of the design build project or design build contract allowed for this building to be painted. And this anchors one side of the fairgrounds. Weathers Arena on the other end of the fairgrounds, painted very similar. Contractors went in and actually scraped and pressure washed and primed and painted even the metal studs on the outside just to give us a longer life on that building there. So I'm excited that we've gone through this project. It's pretty well complete to this point. There's a potential we're going to do more after the fair. We've talked about with another project that stems from the Cleveland Community College that may happen on the Midway. But I'm excited tonight that we have some of our partners with us, and I'd like to recognize them if that's okay with you. Thank you. From Beam Construction, and I would ask for Susie if you would come up and maybe bring your team up here with them if they want to come, or you can recognize them. Susie Lewis is the president of Beam Construction, and we also have. Do you mind if I recognize them? I worked with these guys a lot. So Justin Boheeler is the vice president of operations, and then Andrew Murray and Jason Klontz. Andrew and Jason were out on site, if not every day, almost every day, and they were invaluable to work with. And I want to recognize one other person while y'all are here, and that's Blake Myers, our project manager for the county. Blake has done an outstanding job. He's really come through for me. You know, I'm not a builder. He translates a lot for me and explains what's going on. So Susie, I'll let you, if you want to say a couple words.
It's in big font, so it's not a lot of words. Good evening, Chairman Gordon and ladies and gentlemen of the county commissioners, county manager. We come before you tonight to thank you for the opportunity to renovate the restrooms at the Cleveland County Fairgrounds, to build the new restroom building and the addition of 2 bays to the public safety base. Jason hit on this, but we were looking back at it, and it's really pretty remarkable. This project was awarded on March the 19th, started demolition on the restrooms on March the 25th. We designed the new restrooms and public safety base to allow the foundations to start on May the 20th, not the beginning of May, but the end of May. Completed the new facilities at the 1st of September with substantial completion last week with all our inspections. So from award through design and completion was 167 days, which in our world is pretty remarkable. From start of construction on the new additions is 105 days. Again, pretty remarkable. So we believe that the decision by the commissioners to award this work as a design-build contract not only saved the county money, which Jason showed by all the additional work that was able to take place, because we worked together, we pulled all this together quickly. But it also accomplished the goal of having this work completed for the opening of the 100th anniversary of the Cleveland County Fair. The partnership between Beam, local architect Tally Smith, and the county, led by Jason Falls and Blake Myers, worked very smoothly. We're very proud of the work that's been performed, and we are excited for the fair to kick off next week. So, Mr. Chairman, if you would come down. It is with great honor and pride that I, along with Justin, Andrew, and Jason, present the ceremonial key.
Let's get Alex.
That's what I'm like. Let's have you guys come up front
Okay.
and I can move this.
For the turnover of the Fairgrounds project.
Thank you very much. This is Alex Lattimore, he's the Fair Association President, and Bobby Jinks, the Fair Manager.
Do you want to get everybody in the picture?
Yeah, we can.
If you guys want to get in, and then if the commissioners will stand up, we'll get everybody in the picture. That's fine. Ronnie, can you just move a little closer again? Ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you all for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
I talked to you not long ago. You don't remember me, do you? But I remember when you first started with me. Y'all were doing the work for us in mine.
Yes,
Look
sir.
here.
That's right. That's right.
That's
been a
a
long
long time ago.
It was a long time ago, because the mine's been closed for a long time, but yes, we've enjoyed working.
And y'all did a super job when you were there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Mr. Chair and Commissioners, there's a reason why I had Susie come up first. I would like to bring up another one of our partners, and that's our renter, the Fair Association itself. We do have tonight, we have Alex Lattimore. He's the board chair. We've got Bobby Jinks, and we've got Angela Jinks here as well. Bobby's the fair manager. And Alex, I wanted to invite you up if you want to say anything, but more importantly, they brought you cotton candy and caramel apples.
The clerk will take all that, I'll handle it for him.
Commissioner Chair and the board and the county manager, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to work with you guys during this time and our partnership, and it's shown great rewards from what you've been able to work and been able to provide funding for. And I feel like this is a good partnership for us and the county to be able to grow this fair. And just to think that 100 years ago, the Kiwanis Club created this, and I think they'd be proud to see what has gone on now. And part of our county, even from the county seal, you've got the agriculture in there, that's what this is all about, and we just appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Board, anybody got questions or comments?
I'd just like to say I'm proud that our county is involved in this and that the fair's been there for 100 years. And it, as Alex said, it is an agriculture fair. And at one time, we were the biggest agriculture fair in North Carolina. I'm not sure if that's still true, but it was a place for the farmers to showcase. And
Thank you, Bobby.
you're still there for that. And I appreciate all y'all do and appreciate the beans. And
We all got one. We all got one. We all got one.
Thank you.
We got that.
I'll take one to leave.
Prepared for the fair.
We got, I've got one.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, thank you for the time
Didn't bring
to,
you Polish sausages?
Hold on. Thank you all. Does anybody have any questions or comments for either Beam or Brian, or Jason, or Blake, or the fair association?
It looks great. I mean, it looks really great. I'm excited to go to the fair and actually see it. And,
we're looking forward to having y'all there.
yeah, we'll be there.
I think it's great. I'm sorry.
And you too, do your presentation, I got a question.
Okay.
You
Mr.
told me-
Hud,
you told me to keep it
Commissioner,
all soft questions. I will.
Commissioner Hutch.
But the money that was accumulated to do this, we got to figure to ask him more for the money. It didn't come directly from the county. It came to the county and through the county to the fair from.
Absolutely, absolutely. The state was a huge partner in this. The county led the way with doing the applications for the grants to the state, and the state, our representatives and Speaker Moore was very instrumental in getting these funds for us. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think it's great that we're continuing the legacy of the fair. I can remember as a little bitty boy, I can't remember all 100 of them, but I can remember a lot of the fairs over the years. And I think this sets us up to where we can go another 100 years.
I agree. I agree. Thank y'all so much.
Alex, Bobby, Nancy, thank you guys for being here. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, next item on the agenda is the Board of Election Construction Guarantee Maximum Price. At this time, I recognize Blake Myers, our Facilities Project Manager.
Hold on, Blake, I can't see, so I really can't.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for having me. Want to discuss the Cleveland County Board of Elections renovation project. I know this has been a project in the making for a while. I want to do a brief overview of it. As far as the location goes, the future location is at 108 Bowman Street in Shelby. Scope of this project is interior, exterior, and site renovations to the previous Shelby Rescue Center. This project is designed to house the future location of the elections office. Interior renovations are approximately 8,000 square feet, which do include the office spaces as well as the high bay areas. Exterior renovations will include infill of the high bay doors as well as installation of some new storefront entry glass. Site renovations to include installation of new parking spaces as well as sidewalks. The main priority there is to increase parking space as well as public safety coming to and from the new facility. Renovation plan has been designed with feedback from the elections board members, director, staff, and other stakeholders to ensure that the functional needs of this facility are being met. This project was also presented as a design-build RFQ selection process. During this selection process, based on interviews of 3 firms, Hoke Enterprises as well as Upland Architects were selected as the design-build partners. This gives you a brief overview of the demolition plan inside of the existing facility. On the right-hand side, you can see that that is the high bay area. The red lines are indicating the high bay doors as well as the track systems that's going to be removed from that side of the facility. In the top right corner, the blue lines indicate a roll-up door on the rear of the facility that we plan on leaving so that we can access for storage needs for larger items to get in and out. On the left-hand side, you can see some work as far as demolition goes associated with the office spaces. The whole idea behind this is to open it up and maximize potential space for the future occupants. This is an overview of the interior renovations of what the facility will look like once renovations are complete. You'll see 4 offices plus reception area as well as a lobby, a boardroom, a training room, early voting, as well as a lot of storage facilities. Exterior renovations, this gives you an elevation of the front of the facility as well as the rear. The top rendering is the front of the building. You can see some of the inlays that we're going to infill for the high bay doors, as well as the storefront that we're going to add to help dress that up. The rear of the facility, you can see that roll-up door on the far left-hand side, which we're planning on leaving to access for storage needs, as well as additions of new glass in the back. For the site overview, you can see in the gray that has been added, these are the additions of new parking spaces, as well as crosswalks for pedestrians and a proposed new sidewalk. This whole site overview is mainly geared towards being able to house a large number of voters, as well as accomplishing safety hazards as far as coming in and out of this facility. So you will see a cul-de-sac addition on the right-hand side of this project. The main goal there is to limit the amount of traffic that's going to be coming in and out during heavy election times. Project pricing, total estimated budget for this project is $1,517,400. In this figure, $25,000 of a contingency has been figured. If that $25,000 contingency is not spent, that will come back to the county. As far as the schedule goes, once the project begins, we are estimating anywhere from 18 to 20 weeks of renovation. Obviously, that's considering we have decent weather for the site civil. The only thing that is not included in this schedule as well as the budget are future IT and data infrastructure work that we are working through with internal IT teams of Cleveland County to make sure that we have all necessary requirements installed before opening. Request and recommendations, the request and approval of the GMP funds based on the current drawings and renovation directions, interior, exterior, and site work renovations. Approval for staff to enter contract negotiations based on the approved funds with the county manager, authorized to sign all necessary documents. And I'll open up to any questions.
What questions does the board have?
Just a comment, this, I think this is something we've needed for a long time because the
Yes, sir.
building that the Board of Elections in now is a little cramped.
Yes, sir, that's correct. It's been a project, long time coming, and I think we've done a really good job of working with the stakeholders to make sure that this facility is going to be what they need to house them.
And I know you said how long it would take to complete. When are you expecting to really start?
I'd like to start as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You're talking about the building that we're in, that cramped, but y'all seen the one that was in before they moved over there, so.
It's
The one
gone.
that was in was an improvement, now this will be a major improvement.
Yes, sir.
Can you flip that back, Blake? to
Yes,
the
sir.
Slide, the one with the cul-de-sac. I'm sure everybody's clear that Bowman Street will be closed. So coming off of Marion, we'll dump into the parking lot of the Board of Elections. What's the next street over, Warren? Don't y'all leave me hanging. I'm pretty sure it is Warren.
Yeah.
So that will be a cul-de-sac. So it won't go all the way across, right?
That's correct.
Okay. That, and also, David, this is for you, so this is fully funded, right? So this is money was already earmarked and budgeted for this project, so this is fully funded. It is fully funded. Any other questions? All right, if there's no questions, Blake, if you'll put back to your action slide, so we need to approve. So we're looking for a motion to approve so that they can move forward, and this will be to negotiate contract, and allow the county manager authorized to sign any necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? I hear none, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
David.
Thank you, Blake.
All right, next, we're on to public hearings, and tonight we actually have three. So Madam Clerk?
After the public hearing has been opened, citizen speakers will be acknowledged in the order in which they signed up to speak and will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. Speakers will address the board from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed. A public hearing is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. All comments from the speaker shall be directly related to the subject of the public hearing. Each speaker is allotted 5 minutes to address the board. A speaker is not permitted to share, reserve, or relinquish any remaining time allocated to them to another speaker.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. The first two are planning, cases dealing with planning or rezoning, and the last one's the 2025 schedule of standards and reviews or schedule values for the tax office. We'll get to that later. So next, the first one is Planning Department Case 24-10. This is a request to rezone a portion of parcel 48083 from residential to neighborhood business conditional use, and this is for telecommunications tower. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, Board. I'm here representing the Planning Office, and we have two cases for your consideration tonight. Both are requests to change the zoning of properties. The first is a 7-acre tract of land along 216, located at 216 West Side Lane, west of Mooresboro, and it lies between Mooresboro and the county line shared with Rutherford County, and along Highway 74. The request is to change the zoning from the regular residential district to neighborhood business conditional use for the purpose of locating a telecommunication tower on the site. And the applicant is Network Towers, and the tower company is looking at a 7-acre tract and specifically 75 feet by 75 feet area of that tract to place this tower. So they're really only asking to rezone the area that the tower would lie. The reason they're having to ask for a change is because towers are only allowed in our business zoning districts. And they have provided a site plan, which you have in your packet. The location page of that site plan shows you the parcel, the 7 acres, and then it also shows you the location of the tower in that 75 feet by 75 feet area. And you can see the parcel outlined surrounding the tower, and then the tower site located here on the northeast side of the parcel, and then you can see the Highway 74 right-of-way adjacent to the parcel. And this tower in particular will be 255 feet tall and a lattice style. As I said before, this parcel lies between the town of Mooresboro and the county line shared with Rutherford County. And an aerial showing the uses of the property. You can see that this area currently, and this property in particular, is pretty rural. There is a storage building that lies on the property, and that will remain. And our land use plan designates this area as secondary growth. And then our land use plan also discusses improvements to broadband services throughout our county. We've presented this item to the planning board, and they have recommended approval, first of all, and they've commented that our land use plan encourages broadband services throughout the county for obvious reasons, including 911 connection, and then data services for residents, both residences and businesses throughout the county. And then the planning board commented about the location being along a highway. So I think towers, serving travelers along a highway is probably a request that we've had several of these in the past, and I imagine we'll have several moving forward. Your actions tonight would be to hold a public hearing and approve the request, approve with any conditions that the board sees fit, or deny the request. And I can answer any questions, and we do have a representative here of the petitioner who has a brief PowerPoint slide to share with you as well with more details about the tower.
And you did say we are only rezoning the portion the tower's on, not the whole parcel, correct?
75 to 75 feet.
75, yeah. Okay.
That is
Just make sure I got
correct.
that
This
right.
would only impact that 75 feet by 75 feet area. And I will point out too that 75 number was chosen because of the engineered fall zone of the tower. And that is the fall zone that this tower is designed to use.
Any other questions?
That fall zone is set up with normal weather, so forth. We've been getting a lot of high wind, tornadoes, stuff like that in the area. If the wind tornado hits it, it could throw it down, it could fall into the highway itself. Because as close as it is, I looked at it, and that tower can be moved 150 feet the other way and might eliminate hitting the road at some point in time. I know fall zones, and they all say they're supposed to fall right there, but that's under normal circumstances. But like I say, with the weather changing and the tornadoes and the stuff we've got in that area, has that been looked at?
Not particularly by our office. I know that has been a topic of discussion in the past with many of these cases. Most of these towers do have some sort of engineered or designed to fall within an area. And then you can always have a situation of
We've looked
Mother
at it
Nature.
before, so if they fall, they wouldn't fall on a house or whatever, and we made sure that where they were setting, we keep them away from residents and things like that. Which this one, is a little different.
Right. Yeah, this one's sitting at least 400 feet from the closest residence.
Less than
The
200 yards from the main highway.
Right, the closest thing to this one would be that traveled highway.
200 feet, I said yards, less than 200 feet.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Did you say that they have a presentation as well?
They do, if that's okay with the chairman and the board.
Who's speaking?
Good evening, board, staff. Thank you, Chris. My name is Anthony Bologna. I'm with Williams Mullen. My address is 301 Fayetteville Street, Suite 1700, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27601. I'm here on behalf of Network Towers 2 LLC, and I have David Amory, a representative from Network Towers, here as well. So Chris did a great job introducing the site. We are going from the current zoning designation of residential and proposing to rezone 0.13 acres of the 7.022 acre tract to neighborhood business conditional use. The tower is 255 feet with a 4-foot lightning rod, so a total of 259 feet. It'll have capacity for 4 co-locations. The anchor tenant will be Verizon, and will be open to 3 others in the future. So to sum this up, this is the purpose of the tower and how we've sited it. It is to provide dependable wireless service to citizens, to residents, to businesses, to students, and maybe most importantly, to first responders receiving calls and also communicating outward and addressing emergencies. And this will particularly benefit those living in the greater Mooresboro area, those traveling on West Dixon, Bel Air Road, Trinity Church, Ellenboro Road, and Route 120, as well as those visiting surrounding businesses. As Chris mentioned, this is on the western side of the county, in abuts Rutherford County. In the immediate vicinity, there was a dismantled tower on the site that was dismantled in 2010. And as mentioned in the staff report, there was a tower approved in 2018 that was not built, where Verizon was to be the anchor tenant and has submitted a letter of intent to relocate their service to this site. Here's our site plan that you have. And another. This shows the fall zone, and Commissioner Hutchins, to address your point, we're about 104 feet away from the highway. The way the towers are designed, regardless of generally taking into account most weather events, is that they will collapse within a calculated fall zone. And so rather than the tower tipping over, it'll break at certain points so that it won't impact the road. It's roughly 564.5 feet from the nearest residential structure and exceeds all setbacks in the underlying district. Here's an aerial plan. This is our compound plan, which provides space for future co-locations. And here's our tower elevation showing the perspective for co-locations. I'm happy to answer any questions, and thank you for your time.
Do you have any questions?
In the event, you're looking at your scale here, where you're gonna put the tower, I'm saying from the highway on the other side of the property, you could move it, look like 150, 200 feet. That wouldn't interfere with any communications in that area, moving it 200 feet, would it?
You are correct. It's been cited after negotiations with the Brits, who are the landowner, and after lengthy conversations with them, this is where it made most sense to not interfere with the remainder of the property, while also not interfering with Highway 74.
Okay, if I understand, I want to understand what you're talking about the breakage part. So if we did have an extreme, like say a tornado, once it got pressure, it would break at that point and fall. It wouldn't like pull the whole tower all the way across the road.
Correct. So if this is the tower, rather than it tipping over like this, something like this would happen, so that it wouldn't fall over and lay down the length, the vertical height of the tower on the ground, but would snap at certain points. Demolition engineering has proceeded on an engineering standpoint with great sophistication. There nowadays, you can demolish a building within the envelope of a building. I'm sure you've seen on the news, old hospitals and things like that that are getting demolished. And so breakpoint technology, demolition technology, crisis technology has advanced greatly and reduces the impacts that something like that could have.
So it's highly unlikely it'd ever cross the road.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, sir. All right, hearing none at this time, I'll declare that the public hearing is now open. Also, we had no one sign up to speak at the public hearing, so the public hearing is now closed. So the board of commissioners is back to us. What questions do you have? If there are no questions or comments, or is someone prepared to make a motion? Put your slide back up. This is your three options, our three options. Approve with conditions, or deny outright.
I'll make a motion to approve the zoning permit.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. Any other questions or comments? I hear none, all those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So the next item is also Chris Martin. So this is planning case 24-11. This is a request to rezone parcel 66231 from restricted residential to residential. Chris?
Thank you, Chairman. Our second item is also a request to change the zoning district of a particular property, one parcel, and it's located at 1634 Farmville Road, and it's about 3.37 acres. And the petitioner is the property owner, Mrs. Candace Baumann. And she's asking to change it from the restricted residential that only allows site-built homes and modular homes to the regular residential that allows those plus manufactured homes. The property is highlighted in red, and again, it's 3.37 acres, and it's surrounded by several zoning districts. You can see the yellow that represents restricted residential, white representing the regular residential, and the purple representing the heavy industrial. And I'll add that that parcel that's purple is owned by the county currently, and it's a vacant tract of land at this time. This area, this aerial photo will show us that this area is a pretty traditional residential style area throughout the county. You'll find large lots, single family dwellings, and some agricultural lands nearby. There's also a couple of manufactured homes in the vicinity of this parcel, and you can see one in the aerial on that eastern side of the photo. Our land use plan calls this area primary growth. You can see that represented by the orange color, and that surrounds this property. The gray that you see across the street is considered Shelby's planning jurisdiction. And while I think I will point out that the requested zoning district of regular residential may not, and the use proposed may not be a exact fit for primary growth, the existing zoning district of restricted residential wouldn't be either. So it's really replacing one style of residential with the other. Our planning board reviewed and they recommend approval, and they pointed out that the requested uses in residential zoning districts are compatible with that area along Farmville Road, and that they would just consider this as an extension of an existing residential district. And again, with this one, you'll open a hearing, and then your options would be to approve, approve with conditions, or deny. And I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Chris. All right, board, what questions do we have? Questions? Anybody? Hold on one second. We'll recognize you just a minute, sir. Anybody have any questions? You're Mr. Fish, right? Hold on one second. Anybody have any questions? Got anything else to add, Chris? Nothing else. All right, so at this time, I will declare the public hearing open. And Mr. Fish, I'll recognize you. You did sign up to speak, so if you come forward. No, just, we just had to get the public hearing open first. Go ahead.
Yeah, at the beginning of the meeting, I had my hearing aids in, and to get so much feedback, I missed everything, but I am a veteran United States Air Force, jet engine mechanic, and also retired law enforcement, 36 years, and 32 I have primary law enforcement with my military, and I was privileged to serve as chief of police with the city of Shelby for 14 and a half years of that. But I've owned 1650 Farmville Road since the early 90s, about 32 years. My wife passed away about 3 years ago, and so I divided it up. I'm 81, so I divided it up and deeded the land off in this particular part. I deeded to my great-granddaughter, and she's a single mom with a 9-month-old. One of the hardest working young ladies you'll ever meet. And we've talked to numerous contractors and also looked at dozens of manufactured homes, and the only way we could tell it, when I'd go on a lot to find a modular home, and I have to ask the person, you know, showing the property if it's a modular or just a regular manufactured double wide, because looking from the outside, you can't tell the difference. So what I'm trying to do is get something that she can afford and something nice for her and the she's my great-granddaughter, and then my great-great-granddaughter. So trying to get something nice for them for the future. So, you know, we do certainly request approval so we can get something that would be appropriate for the neighborhood as well as appropriate for them. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Fish was the only one that signed up to speak, so at this time, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Board, do we have any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other questions? All right, discussion. If not, all those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carried unanimous.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Mr. Fish tried to get Johnny's attention a little earlier. Can you give him one of those veterans pins, Johnny?
Oh, okay, sure can.
Mr.
You
Fish,
didn't
come back
recognize
up.
him earlier?
He said he didn't hear you.
He didn't hear you. But we appreciate your service to the community as well as the country.
I apologize for not recognizing you.
Well, like I said, I had my hearing aids in, I listened to.
This is the county crest. And we took the county crest and put a veteran rocker underneath it. We appreciate your service.
Appreciate it. You know, mechanic from the little BPT bus.
Yeah, yeah.
Was Glenn Barrett the fire chief when he was the police chief?
Sir?
I said, was Glenn Barrett the fire chief up there when he was the police chief?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Him and Miller.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Miller was there when I took over, and then Barrett was there.
Well, thank you again. All right, we have one more public hearing tonight. The next one is the schedule of values, so it's the schedule, standards, and rules, 2025 revaluation. At this time, I'll recognize Sherry Lavender, our tax assessor.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Last month, I came before the board and presented our 2025 reappraisal schedule, standards, and rules. This is the book that we will use to value properties in our upcoming reappraisal, effective January 1st, 2025. I've got a really quick presentation, and then I'm going to ask that you open the public hearing.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Just to, real briefly, this reappraisal is just in a process of updating our assessed values of real property to reflect the current market. The price of, or the value that we will determine is estimated in terms of money at which the property would change hands between a willing buyer and a willing seller, neither with it being any compulsion to buy or sell, and both having reasonable knowledge of the uses of that property. And that's North Carolina General Statute 105-283. The reappraisal is required by law. We're required to do one every 8 years, but the county can choose to advance a cycle to reduce inequities in assessments. So Cleveland County is on a 4-year cycle. Our last reappraisal was in 2021. We've been working on this one for approximately 2 years now. With these reappraisals, it creates equity in our assessments and corrects any shifts in the tax burden as values and prices increase. This is a slide that many of you may have seen before. Sales prices have risen sharply between 21 and 24. When we ended our 2021 reappraisal, we were at 98% of market value. So we were right with the statute in our minimum assessment level, which would be to have our sales ratio between 85% and 115%. As we move through the 2021 year after our effective reappraisal date, our sales ratio began to drop because as you can see in the blue here, our median sales price in 2020 and 2021 was around $100,000. As you can see by this blue line, that increased sharply in 22. Our sales prices in the county were going up. They continue to rise. And because our assessed values have stayed the same since 2021, that has caused our sales ratio, this red line, to drop. We are currently down at 59.18% of market value. So one of the reasons we do reappraisals is because of the minimum assessment level of staying between 85 and 115%. If we drop below that 85%, assessed values of our public service properties, these are our public utilities, could be reduced by the Department of Revenue to this assessment level. So we do reappraisals to keep those levels up, keep us above that 85% so that we don't have that equalization. Here are some of the public service companies that provide services in Cleveland County. You've got Duke Energy, Rutherford EMC, the pipelines, your railroads, your phone companies, cable companies and internet providers, bus lines, and motor freight. Since we've presented these schedules to the board last month, they have remained open in our office for public inspection. One of the main frequently asked questions I've received over this month is, will everyone's value change at the same rate? Will everybody's go up 40%? The answer is no. Cleveland County has approximately 700 neighborhoods or market areas within the county, and we will determine rates based on market indicators in those locations. So we're not comparing Moss Lake to the northern part, more rural part of the county that's farmland. Those won't be compared to each other. They'll be compared to similar properties within their market areas. And some of those market indicators depend on the use of the property, the location of the property, and the physical conditions of any improvements on that property, such as the type of construction, whether it's commercial, industrial, or residential, the age of those improvements, and replacement cost of those improvements, less depreciation. So here's a timeline of what we've been working on. From 2022 to just recently, we have been working on field data collection out in the county, and we've been doing sales analysis to create these schedules. During 2024, we are still continuing to analyze, but we have adopted, or we have created these schedules, and we're starting the process of getting this adopted so they can be effective for our January 1st effective date for 2025. So part of that is providing these schedules to the board, presenting them to the board, leaving them open for public inspection, and we've done that on at a couple of different locations. The schedules continue to be open and available for public inspection at the assessor's office, the county manager's office, the county library, and it's also available electronically on our website. But as you can see from this timeline here, right now we're still analyzing and testing. Toward the end of 2024, we're now coming before you to do our statutorial duty and presenting those schedules, having the public hearing, and adopting those. Once they are adopted, we will begin valuation, recalculation of our tax data, and we will mail notices around mid-February. Earlier if I can get it all done, but we're shooting for a mid-February release date. Informal reviews and appeals will be done by my staff from February to approximately the end of March. At the point of April, the formal Board of NR will convene for the purpose of hearing any formal appeals, and we hope to wrap those appeals up, depending on the number that we get, by June or July. And then tax bills will be mailed next year based on the new values in July of 2025. So we're asking tonight for the public hearing to be heard tonight, and then we're planning on presenting the scheduled values for adoption at your November meeting. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Sherry. Does anyone have any questions? All right, we're hearing none. I'll declare the public hearing open. Madam Clerk, no one signed up to speak?
Correct, no one signed up to speak.
Okay, so now the public hearing is closed. And so we don't need any action tonight, right? So
No
we'll
action tonight.
vote on November the 12th.
Yeah, these will remain open for the public to review until the adoption date, and then even after the date, we'll have things available.
Does anybody have any questions before we move on?
Just a comment. We appreciate your staff and what they're doing, because I know this is not an easy task to accomplish. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just for clarification, if I sell my house, you still value it at what's on the books rather than what I sold my house for?
Correct.
Why do we not adjust it at that time when the sale goes through?
As part of the structure of the Machinery Act and the way the state has set up property taxation, we don't reflect market changes except during these reappraisal years. The only thing I can change in between reappraisal years is if you physically do something to your house. You add an addition, you demolish an old garage building or an old storage building. Those kind of things we can look at from year to year based on the permits. But we can only look at market reflections, the effects of inflation, recession, or in this case, just normal market changes in a reappraisal year.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, next item on the agenda is we have two board appointments tonight, or two boards to appoint members to. The first one is the City of Shelby Planning and Zoning Board. This is actually ETJ positions. I believe there's two of those, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Board, you will need to appoint two people to serve a 3-year term set to conclude June 30th, 2027. All applicants on your list are eligible and have been vetted and recommended for reappointment.
Question, do those addresses, do they actually live in the ETJs?
Yes,
They do?
Yes.
Because the state requires them to.
yes.
I'd like to make a motion for Bob Kevinis and Emmanuel Hunt Jr.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, the second for the two names stated. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next one is the Gaston Community Action Board of Directors. I believe there's one appointment.
Yes,
Madam Clerk?
you will need to appoint one person for another 3-year term ending June 30th, 2027. All applicants are eligible, have been vetted, and recommended for appointment or reappointment.
I'd like to nominate Phyllis Williams to the Gaston Community Action Board of Directors.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, second for the name stated. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I think that motion too carries unanimous.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
that brings
Chair.
us to the
Thank you.
closed session. Next, we have a closed session night, closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11, A6, to consider the qualifications, competency, performance, character, fitness, conditions of employment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employment or prospective public officer or employee. With that, do I hear a motion to enter a closed session?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Remind the board, we now stand in, we're now in closed session, and we will reconvene in the conference room. Madam Clerk, let the record show the board is back in open session. During the meeting, remember the item that was stated, no action was taken. So with that, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, we're adjourned. I guess I should have said that 6 weeks.